A very good morning to you all. Welcome to online session of 2021 and 22. I am Dr. Jaya Verma and I will teach you social science. And today we will start from geography chapter 1, that is resources and development, and this is your first video lecture in this session. So before jumping into the chapter, let us discuss about the registers, how many registers will be needed in this social science. So there will be three registers. Number one register, in first register you will do history and geography. In half of the portion do history and in the other half of the portion do geography. This is the first register, and in the second register you will do political science and economics. At the first half political science, second half economics, or first half economics, second half political science, it is up to you. And there will be third register, that will be your practice notebook. Whatever questions, extra questions will be given to you, you have to do those questions in practice register. So daily questions will be given to you and you have to do those questions in that practice register. So this is information for your registers, how much registers have you will be needing for this session. So now let's start the chapter. So our first chapter is resources and development. So the name of the chapter is resources and development. So now here for this you have to open your books. Everything available in our environment can be used to satisfy our needs provided it is technologically accessible, economically feasible and culturally acceptable, can be termed as a resource. See, we will see this in a very simple language, that everything which is available in the environment that humans value, that humans know the value of that, humans value, and that things are capable to satisfy the needs of the people, that is known as resource. And three things mainly which you have to remember is technologically accessible, economically feasible. The first one is economically feasible. For example, if we see that this place where we are standing, it has a lot of gold inside it and we want to take it out, okay, and lots of money has been spent on it to take that gold out, and when we took that gold out, we should be aware that this gold will give us returns. Okay, whatever money has been spent in this taking out this gold, okay, this will give us returns. And then second is culturally acceptable. For example, there is one temple and under that temple there is petrol inside or crude oil is there, and we want to dig the temple and we want to take that crude oil out. So if we will destroy the temple and we want to take that crude oil out, all the people who are, because it is a temple, so no one will allow us to destroy the temple, or we cannot dig a hole also inside the temple. So we can say everyone should accept it. So that is culturally it should be accepted by all the people. And then third is technologically accessible. Technologically accessible means that there is crude oil under the temple and we should have the technology to take that crude oil out. So in this way we can say that technologically accessible, economically feasible and culturally it should be acceptable, and in this way it is known as a resource. So now here, interdependent relationship between nature, technology and institution. So students, one diagram is there in your book. It shows that human beings interact with the nature through the technology and they create many institutions so that they can do economic development. See here, the process of transformation of things available in our environment involves an interdependent relationship. All are interdependent on each other. Like between nature, technology and institution, means nature, technology and institutions. And the main thing is human beings. So human beings interact with the nature. See here, they interact with the nature through technology. They use the technology, whatever is they want to take it out from the grounds, they use technology and they take that out, and they create many institutions for the development. So, do you think that resources are free gifts of nature? As is assumed by many, many people assume that these natural resources are gift of nature, though they are gift of nature, but they should be used judiciously, they should be used wisely by the human beings. Their natural resources are there for the need of the people, but not for the greed of the people. See, they are not. Resources are a function of human activities. Human beings themselves are essential components of resources. Means without human beings, nature is lifeless. See, without human beings, no one will access where is oil or whatever they can use from the environment. Human beings have the mind. They can think and they can interact with nature with the help of the technology. So they transform material available in our environment into resource. So human beings, they change this. They change the material which is available in the environment and they make it as a resource and use them. And human beings use them. So these resources are classified into many. So first is natural resources and the other one is human resource. So under natural resources under natural resources it is classified into renewable resources and non-renewable resources. Renewable resources means which can be renewed and non-renewable resources means which cannot be renewed. So and under renewable, we will take these afterwards in detail. I will explain this to you. Just see the classification, how they are classified. So under natural resources, they are renewable and non-renewable. And these renewable are again classified into two. That is continuous. And the example of this continuous is wind and water. And again the next one is biological. How it is biological? Then this biological is again divided into two, classified into two. That is natural vegetation, that is forest, and the other one is wildlife. Then we have non-renewable. How non-renewable? Again it is classified into two, that is recyclable. An example of recyclable is metals and non-recyclable is fossil fuels. So these are the examples how resources are classified. And the next one is human beings. Human beings, they create structures and institutions. And quantity and quality. How quantity and quality? Means human beings have the quality of changing all these things into resources. Now, these resources, how many types of resources are there? See, these resources, there are types of resources like they are on the basis of origin, then they are on the basis of exhaustibility, on the basis of ownership, then we have on the basis of status of development. So one by one we will discuss about these. So these resources are classified on the basis of origin. How they are classified? On the basis of origin, they are classified into two, that is biotic and abiotic. Under biotic resources comes which are obtained from nature, means which have life. The example of this is human beings, flora and fauna, fisheries and livestock. Means living things, they comes under biotic resources. And abiotic resources means abiotic resources which are composed of non-living things. So these are known as abiotic resources. Examples of this is rocks and metals. These are examples of abiotic resources. Now, living things and non-living things. Living things, under living things comes plants, animals, bacteria, fungus, and protists. And under non-living things comes water, soil, light, minerals, and air. Then further classification of these resources, number 2 is on the basis of exhaustibility. Exhaustibility, then it is again divided into two. First one is renewable resources and non-renewable resources. Under renewable resources comes which can be renewed, like sunlight, which can be renewed, water, it is also recyclable, it is also a renewable resource. And then the next one is non-renewable resources, which once they have been used, they cannot be renewed. See, renewable resources, the resources which can be renewed or reproduced by physical, chemical or mechanical processes, these are known as renewable or replenishable resources. Example of this is solar and wind energy, water, forest and wildlife. And renewable resources are further classified into continuous or flow. Then comes the non-renewable resources. These non-renewable resources takes a very long time to again for the to form, to occur or to form. Then minerals and fossil fuels are examples of such resources. So if these minerals, coals and oil, if they are used once, then it took a very long period, means millions of years they take to form again. So some of the resources like metals are recyclable and some like fossil fuels cannot be recycled, and they get exhausted with their use. Then here I have already explained these renewable resources and non-renewable resources. Again, which can be renewed or reproduced by physical, chemical or mechanical process, that is solar and wind energy, water, forest and wildlife. Then renewable resources, they are again divided into continuous or flow resources, and example of this is wind and water. And non-renewable resources, they are formed over a substantially long geological time. It takes a very long time to form this again, like minerals and fossil fuels. And these can be subdivided into recyclable and non-recyclable. Like fossil fuels, which cannot be recycled and they get exhausted with their use. And now the the third is on the basis of ownership. Ownership means individual ownership, community ownership, national ownership and international ownership. See here, individual resources. These are the resources that are owned privately by the individual. Like for example, land owned by a farmer, that is individual resource. And that land is allotted by the government against the payment of revenue. Means that land is allotted to the person, allotted to the farmer, and for that he have to pay some taxes. Like plantations, pasture lands, ponds, water and wells, these are owned by the individuals. Then we have plots, houses and other property owned by people in the city, they comes under individual resources. Then individual resources means personal property, that is individual resources. Then we have community resources. These community resources are resources which are accessible to all the members of the community. For example, like grazing grounds, burial grounds, then we have ponds, then we have public parks, picnic spots and playgrounds in urban cities. All this comes under community resources. So here, public parks, picnic spots, playgrounds in urban areas are accessible to all the people living in them. So here, I hope, this is the types of resources. One more is left. We will continue this topic in the next video. So students, that is all for today. I hope you must have understood the lecture. If there is any problem, please in the query section you can ask. So that's all for today students. I will stop here. Thank you and have a nice day.